Hi friends, it's Becky and I want to share a beading design with you. This is a design that I used some of the 2-hole beads in my 2-hole beads of the month club for August 2025 from Adornable Elements. I'm also using some of my 11 seed beads of the month club for this design. And you can use this as a pendant. I'm going to be doing 2 of them so that I can have a pair of earrings with these beads. But it should be fairly quick, fairly easy. I've got about an arm's length of beading wire. I'm using 6-pound Fireline for this on an English style beading needle, and that's what I'm going to be using for this design. We're going to be using one of these Hex Pyramid beads. It is a 2-hole bead with 2 of the holes going parallel there. We've got our check glass 2-hole pyramid or stud beads, and they've got their little holes right there. So we'll be using these ones. These are nice and shiny and dark. And then we've got some of these matte jet super duo beads. For each earring or pendant that you're doing, you're going to want 1 of these beads, 6 of the stud beads, and 12 of the super duos. I'm choosing to do 2 different colors of seed beads in this design. You can use just 1 color if you'd like. And then I've just got an ear wire that we're going to be also using in order to turn it into an earring. So let's get started. This will be my color A and this will be my color B. I'm going to start by picking up a single color A seed bead, and this will be part of the design, but it will also initially be my little stop bead to keep my thread from coming out as I'm going through here. So I've got about 3 or 4, closer to 3 inches of thread here. I'm going to go back through that bead in the same direction so that the thread makes a loop around the side of that seed bead. And now I'm ready to get started. Now, I find it very useful when you have beads like this that have a right side and a wrong side, or an up and down, to line them up in a specific direction. So I'm going to line it up so that the holes on this, I have 1 hole running parallel close to me and 1 hole running parallel away from me. And I'm just going to line them up so that it's easier for me to be consistent in which direction I'm going through as I am creating and as I'm doing this. All right. So now that they're all lined up, I'm going to go through this one, through the hole that is furthest from me, going straight through that way. And then I'm going to go through on this bead, the leftmost one. And the reason that I want those 2 holes to match up so that the other hole on this one will match up to the second hole on my larger pyramid, my Hex Pyramid bead. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this first hole on this Hex Pyramid bead. I'm going to pick up 1 of the pyramid stud beads. I'm going to go through that second hole, and I went through the same direction that I went through the first one in, that same hole, and you can adjust this to get it to sit correctly. I want that to be against the edge of that, like that. And then for this one, I'm going to go through this pyramid bead again, skipping that 11-0, but you can pinch the beads and hold them in place while you pull your thread if you need to. I've just got the whole stack pinched there. Give that a little snug, just to snug that right up. And now I've got my first 2 beads attached to my pyramid bead. So now the next step is going to be picking up an 11-0 and going through my next 2, one at a time. 11-0 and then a pyramid bead, and then an 11-0, and then a pyramid bead. And I am going through the same hole each time I go to pick this up so that I'm consistent with it, and then 1 more 11-0. So for this side, we wanted 11 pyramid, 11 pyramid, 11. Now I can go through this pyramid bead that's already attached to our component. And you can see here on the other side, it's coming together. And then I'm going to pick up another 11, go through my next pyramid bead, make sure I'm going through the right side, pick up another 11, go through that last pyramid bead, and since I've already got an 11 here, I don't need to go through it again. So I'm going to go through this 11 and this pyramid bead. Now the next step is going to tighten this up, so we shouldn't need to reinforce this round. You can if you want, though. You absolutely can. In fact, yeah, no, I didn't do that on the first one, so we don't really need to on this one, because we're going to go around again, but we're also going to be adding some extra beads as we do. So, and my extra beads, now that I'm coming out of just this pyramid bead over here on the side, I'm going to pick up 3 of my color B seed beads. And if you're doing just a single color, you don't have to reach for your other one. So I'm coming out of this pyramid bead on this side. I'm just going to circle around that same pyramid bead and go back through it from the other side. So it's going through in the same direction. And you want to redirect your thread to make sure that it goes across the front. It's very easy, especially when it's longer, for it to get caught on some of these other beads that are protruding. But I want it to sit right here in the front of my pyramid bead. And I'm going to go through the next 11 and the next pyramid bead, or stud bead. It's another name for this bead. I'm going to pick up 3 more of my color B seed beads. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go through that same pyramid bead that I'm coming out of. Make sure the thread goes in front of that bead, that it doesn't get caught on any of the others. Give that a little bit of a tug on the thread while you're holding it. That's just going to snug everything up around our central pyramid bead. And we go through the next 11 and pyramid bead. I'm just going to go around this whole thing just like that, adding my 3 color B 11s and going back through that pyramid bead. And the next 11 and pyramid bead. Three more 11s. We'll go around. Two more. These 2. One, 2, 3. All right, and we are almost done with this part. we're just going to need to add a few more beads. So I'm going to go through the 11-0 and this next pyramid bead again. We've added those 3 seed beads in front of all of them. I'm just going to scooch in a little bit closer so that you can see the beads as we're going. So I'm coming out of this hole on my pyramid bead. I'm going to skip up here to this line of seed beads along the front. And for this part, I'm going to add one of my color A seed beads in between each of these groups of 3. So I'm coming out of this group of 3 here, picking up one of my color A seed beads, and going through that next group of color B seed beads. I'm just popping that right into place. I'll do that again, add my color A seed bead, go through all 3 of these guys right next to it. Make sure your thread doesn't get caught on the edges of these other beads. And pull that tight. I'm just going to do this all the way around. Until this is secure. Okay. So now that all of those are done, we have a little component here. I'm going to take my thread and go back through this first pyramid bead, through that hole that's closer to the center of this circle. And then I'm going to jump up here to our outer hole on my pyramid bead. We're going to work our way around and add our superduos. So I'm going to start by picking up, and these are all going to be color A seed beads. Pick up an 11-0, 2 superduos, and an 11-0. And I'm just going to skip over here from this pyramid bead to the next pyramid bead in the circle. So those 2 just pop right into place right there. Let's do that again. An 11-0, 2 superduos, and an 11-0. And we're going to go through that next pyramid bead, and we're all working through the outer hole on the pyramid bead, the one that is on the outside of the circle. 1, 2, and 1. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around. See it shaping up. It's almost like a little snowflake design. I think this would be gorgeous in like some blues and silvers, probably in the winter time. Could even leave it just like this as snowflakes. That would be really pretty, I think. Alright, but we are going to do some extra stuff with this one. Alright, I'm going to go through the pyramid bead, but not the whole thing, because we're going to be going around this again and reinforcing while we add some more beads. So, with all of these guys in place, I'm coming out of this hole on the pyramid bead. I'm going to pick up 4 of my color A 11-0s. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go through that same pyramid bead that I'm coming out of, going through the hole on the opposite side of where I'm coming out of. So it makes a circle again with the seed beads that I'm adding. And again, just make sure they don't get caught on things. It's easy enough to do if you take your time. I'm going to go through the next beads along the way, which is going to be the 11-0, super duo 11-0, until I'm coming up out of that next pyramid bead. I'm going to pick up 4 more of these 11-0s and do the same thing that I did with that first one. Just turning around and going back around the outside of that. You can angle it so that you go through that next 11-0 and super duo. It can make it a little bit faster going around. Just be gentle when you're pulling it so that you can make sure that that thread lands the right way. So super duo 11-0 and pyramid bead. I'm just doing a little tug as I go. This is going to just firm things up and keep it from getting floppy. 2, 3, 4. Going back around. And I come around. All right. 2, 3, 4. Just have a couple more to do. This is a pretty quick project to do, relatively. So I'm not doing very many stop and I'll meet you back here's on this. We're just going around and just doing 6 of each of these. Sorry, my thread was getting a little bit curly, so I was just running my finger along it to kind of straighten it out a little bit. That sometimes happens with your thread. Right, one more. One, 2, 3, 4. All right, so for this one, I've come up and around. I'm coming out of the pyramid bead right there. And my next step is going to be going through the 11-0, both of the super duos and the 11-0 here, because this part has not been reinforced yet. And then we're going to go all the way along here to this super duo, right here on the other side. So I'm coming out of that one, and that'll give me the opportunity to turn us all around and start going along the outer edge. So I'm just coming out of this one super duo right here on the side, and I'm going to go through the second hole on that one super duo, and I'm going to be working with color B 11-0s now. I'm going to pick up a single color B 11-0, go through these 4 11-0s along the top of here, and you might not be able to get through all 4 of them at once. It's okay to go through a couple of them and then that last one. And then I'm going to pick up another color A 11-0 and sew into that next super duo here along the outer edge. I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3 of the color B 11 O's and go into that next superduo. And I want there to be that little pop out there. We're going to be reinforcing this whole row again, and when we do, we'll just skip this middle bead to give it more of a pronounced picot. But for right now, we're going to leave it like that. And you might notice as you're coming along, oh no, what happened to those 11 O's that I added? They tend to sometimes slide back there, which is fine because you can just push them right back up where they need to be. And then once you've added that 11O next to it and on the other side, it's not going to slide to the back of the work anymore. So don't worry, it didn't go anywhere, it's still there. So basically, just to reinforce what we're doing, I'm adding a single 11O on either side of those groups of 4, and then 3 in between each of the superduo pairs, like that. And we're going to do this same thing for all of the superduos along the way except for one. So when I get all the way around to the other side, I'll show what I'm doing differently on that one. Oh, you have to go through all 4 of them and then pick up the next 11O. Go. 1, 2, 3. And if you missed it, this bracelet was another design that I made with the same Beads of the Month clubs. I did that one during my unboxing, which I'll be linking in the description below if you wanted to check that one out. I will also link to where you can find the Adornable Elements Beads of the Month clubs. I get seed beads and 2-hole beads every month. And I also get the rotating Beads of the Month club, and this month it was more of the 11O seed beads. So I got twice as many of those. My thread got caught on my beads. There we go. This would look really pretty with like blue and silver beads for Christmas time, I think, or just winter time. All right, one last 11O being added here. And this is the last group of superduos here. I told you we'd be doing the same thing on all of them except for this last one. And for this last one, I'm going to be making a little loop like this. So what I'm going to do is pick up 6 of my color B11Os. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go right back into that next superduo. And I'm just going to follow my thread path all the way around the outside of this. Don't worry, we'll be coming back here to reinforce that loop after I get the rest of this reinforced. So it's a little bit wobbly right now, and that's because we haven't reinforced anything. So as I said, when we go around here, we're going to get a more pronounced picot on this little corner by skipping our middle 11O. So I'm coming out of that first 11O in this group of 3. going to sew into the third 11-0 and completely skip that second one. And then go through superduo and as many 11-0s as I can angle my needle to go through. Pull that tight, and that just really helps that 11-0 pop out and be pointier. So I'm going to do that all the way around here. We're just following the thread path through all of these outside beads except for these middle beads here on this point. But this will get us all the way around. It will reinforce this design. It won't be as wavy at the end of this. It'll be flatter. This is just the underside. That's the overside. This is a fun thing to do with some superduos and some pyramid beads if you have them. These are some really fun two-hole beads to play around with. So now that I've got these beads all lined up, these 6 beads that I'm coming out of here, I'm going to go ahead and go up this column of these first 3 with my thread, pick up an extra 11-0 seed bead to put a little point here on the top, and then go down through these 3 11-0s next to it. And I'm just going to reinforce this by going through the hole on this superduo. And then we're going to go around through both of these superduos on these second holes, if I can get to the hole. There we go. And you might have to go through one at a time. And go skip back up here to that second hole again. Go through all these seed beads one more time, except for that top one that we just added. And that's just to reinforce this loop. Alright, so I've got my thread coming out of this bead here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot my thread around here. Go through here and then down through that bead. Okay, so I'm just going to try and get my thread over to where my tail is. So that I can get a little knot made. Yep, just going to go through that 11-0 there. It is a lot easier to get to this from the back side than from the front. Love that. Let's go ahead and tie a little knot. I'm going to do left over right, pull it tight, right over left, but as I go through twice, it's going to make it more of a surgeon's knot. Tie that off. And I can burn off my threads and add my ear wire. Alright, I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to open up my ear wire. Just going to swing this loop open. These are handmade ear wires that I like to make and use with some craft wire. Here we go. Earring number 1, and here's earring number 2. And again, I made these using my Beads of the Month clubs for August 2025 with the 2-hole beads and the seed beads, Beads of the Month. I'm just going to turn this so you can get an idea of the elevation on here with all these pokey outy bits. I love that. Absolutely love it. And this was a lot of fun to create with. This I think would also be fantastic with like maybe some hot pink seed beads just to really brighten it up. But I do like this sort of darker nebula kind of a colorway too. Alright, I will again have some links in the description below if you'd like to check out Adornable Elements and the Seed Beads Beads of the Month clubs. If you're not a subscriber, you can always email them and ask if there's any particular seed beads or 2-hole beads that you see me working with and you'd like to see if they have any extras available. You do not need to be a subscriber in order to make that purchase. You just need to reach out to them and send them an email, and you can find their contact us information on their website. All right, until next time, my friends, happy beading.